What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY in the markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on invested cash. The offer ends very soon in just 2 weeks. Anyways, for Tesla, we saw a bit of a dip today as we lost that support at 322. However, Tesla did end up getting bought back up at its 30 minutes 200 EMA. This is right over here at this 316 area. So we ended up holding 316. And so far, we're seeing some buyers trying to defend it. But the question now remains, what levels should we be watching for and what's affecting Tesla? So this news came out right over here about how Tesla has a new price target from Jefferies. We had different analysts come out and they gave Tesla a new valuation. They raised their estimates for the stock from $195 to $300. That's actually more than a 30% increase relative to before. Now, that is important, but one thing that's worth mentioning is that when this news came out, we did see Tesla dip a bit. Right now, they have a price target of $300. Could Tesla approach 300 before we see some kind of bounce? It's always a possibility after so much upside that we saw. It's also worth mentioning the fact that they believe that they have a $300 price target because of the fact that Tesla is expanding its ventures all the way out there, such as the mega packs and different factors like that. That's very, very unique. A lot of people don't talk about the mega packs being a big driving catalyst for Tesla. And they also start talking about FSD as the full potential is increasing, Optimus, and many other things just like that. So they're saying that as long as the market remains competitive with the deregulations that are going on, they believe that investments in Tesla are going to pay off, and they're still very, very bullish. They do have a $300 price target. They did increase that. And they could be very, very open to increasing targets again. Their initial target was $195. It went up to $300. So as time goes on, this could even increase more depending on what they end up talking about. So I just want to call that out. Keep that in mind. Later on for today, we have the big guy Jerome Powell giving a speech at 3 o'clock p.m. So just keep that in mind. We'll also wait for what Jerome Powell has to say. So for Tesla, let's talk about this now. We are range bound. We saw this big dump since we lost 322. That was the level we called out. I mentioned if 322 fails, we'd be looking for 315. We actually ended up holding around 316 because our 200 EMA went a little bit higher. So 316 was the main support on Tesla. We came just short of that target. Um, Now we're going to be looking for an attempt to rebound. We're looking at 322 as our resistance. If we break that, we're looking for 325, very close to our 20 EMA, followed by 330 near the 50 EMA. So watch those levels very, very carefully. If Tesla were to lose 316, we're essentially looking for 312. That's right over here where this previous support happened to be. And if 312 fails us, we're looking for 308. That's where this imbalance happens to be. Not to mention 300 if that fails us. So watch those supports very, very nicely. I think we're just range bound for the time being. Tesla will attempt to get back up to 322. We'll see if we could break that or not. Otherwise, watch the main support at 316, 322's resistance. We'll see which way we break when it comes to these levels. But overall, just know that we might see the market kind of shuffle for a bit until we get ready for Jerome Powell's speech. That's what the market's waiting for the big guy, Jerome Powell, in just a couple of hours. Just keep that in mind, guys. That's the main catalyst for the market for now. As far as SPY goes, we're also range bound. So SPY dumped all the way down, just like we were talking about. I said when we opened, there should be a dip coming. We came all the way down to 595. Then we got bought back up. So we're now trading sideways in the 596s. I expect this to continue to shuffle for some time. And then we're waiting for Jerome Powell when he gives his speech. He could launch this back up to 599, or he could cause a rug pull. He's going to be giving a very important speech to talk about interest rates. So I'll give you guys another heads up about that later on. But otherwise, I expect SPY to shuffle in the 596s for now. And then we'll wait for what Jerome Powell causes. ES is also shuffling around the 6,000 area, very close to its 200 EMA. I think this is going to continue to shuffle until we hear from Powell. If Powell pumps this, we're going to be looking for an attempt to get back up to 6,040. And if he doesn't, we could be dipping all the way down to these lower levels. Otherwise, we just remain range bound for the time being. For Nvidia is trying to push right over here. We made a little bit of a dip back down, just like we were predicting, to about 145. But then we got bought back up afterwards. It could approach 149.5 to 150. It's possibly push a little bit more, but then I don't expect much more upside after that because it is a tough resistance. And every time we hit 148 to 150, we do tend to see a lot of shuffling. So I expect a little bit more upside and continuation to shuffle in the 148 to 150 range before we see some other developments. That's what I think is the most likely case for now. For Bitcoin, it's dipping a little bit. It went a little bit below my target. I was talking about how we might be seeing 90,000, if not 89,500 in a bounce. We actually went a little bit below that. We went all the way down to 88,000. So right now, Bitcoin is also range bound, kind of boring. Notice that we're just shuffling between 85 and 90,000 for the most part. We'll have to see if we get a bounce. Otherwise, we're just waiting for Powell. And I think Bitcoin's going to consolidate for some time before we see a much bigger move later on. For NQ, it's the same thing. We did call out the dip, and that's what's happening so far. So we're shuffling very close to 21,100. That's our resistance with support at 21,050. So we're just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, not really doing a whole lot. So give this some time to develop. So I think we're just going to be shuffling for the time being. There's not really a whole lot else that's going on with this. But once Jerome Powell starts his speech, which is what we're waiting for, there's going to be a much bigger move. We could surpass 21,200, or we could be looking for a bigger rug pull. We'll have to wait and see on that. For a QQQ, it's the same thing. We're just range bound. We have this resistance around 512. Our main support's at 510. We're currently just going back and forth between our EMAs. So we have 512 near the 20 EMA, and then 510 is near our 200. We're just going back and forth. That's all we're really doing. So we're just waiting to see what happens with Powell's speech. Apple's going to be trying to push back up to about 227, and we have the support at 225. We're stuck as well. We pushed a little bit above that, but we should be dipping back down to the 225s. Once again, the market's very choppy. We're just waiting for the big guy. IWM went down exactly as predicted. We called out the 233 area. I said that in the morning we're likely dipping back down there. That was correct. We have a head and shoulders that's forming, so this is a little bit concerning to me. If we end up losing our support at 232, we could be tipping down to fill that gap. So we'll see about that. There is a little bit of weakness forming on the IWM. I just want to give you guys a heads up about that. For AMT, we're on a bit of a downtrend. This could be dipping lower towards 138. For other stuff, there we have Coin. Coin has been dipping and actually went all the way down to fill this gap very close to what we predicted. I called out how it might be dipping back down to fill that gap before it sees a bounce. Where Amazon, we were trying to push only to get a rejection of 216. We called out 216, 214, and 212 that failed us. We were holding up very nicely in the pre-market only to get a rejection. So watch 212. If we don't hold above that, we're looking for 210 as our next support. Meta has been dipping back down to 578. Now we're just going to shuffle between 570 and 580 most likely, just trading sideways. Microsoft could be dipping lower. We're range bound between around the 425 area, so I'm not really expecting much for that. Then Google could be dipping back down to 175, so we'll have to see how things end up going. So watch 175 as a potential target. It might see some more downside. Otherwise, the market just continues as is. So the market's very, very flat, just shuffling. Even Tesla's kind of shuffling around this range between 322 and 317. So I think we will just continue to do that, trading sideways for the time being until we wait for Jerome Powell, and we'll see what the big guy ends up causing. Until then, I thank you all so much for listening. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys very soon in my next upload in just a couple of hours. Until then, have a great day and peace out.